A life well #lived. Because someone once said, the best moments in life are left uncaptured. And they never thought it would be this relevant. Because when we look on the news or on the media and see how quickly lives can be cut short, our instinct is to think, "Aw, that sucks. Kid dies in a motorcycle accident, cat caught in a tree, someone died." And not think of ourselves, or think of them and think of their life as being well-lived. Because life isn't only measured in the parties, and the countless friendships, the recognition and awards, the thumbs up and likes on Facebook and Instagram and the favorites on Twitter. It's not surrounded by the seas of people to only know one or two people, when the common thread is what's coming out of a bottle, or how many silver cans you have lined up. Because 800 and 8,000 friends is nothing like having your best friend drive to your house with ice cream and animal cookies after the worst breakup of your life that happened over a text message. It can be sitting down with your friends discussing what's happened the past day, month, year, or decade, when you haven't seen them in months, weeks, and sometimes even hours. It's that silence that we can depend on after the long day, when no words are spoken, but something's felt. It's not about #school or #work, #the struggle or #overcoming our struggle, or #midterms or #finals. It's not about the selfies and the tweets and the hashtags and the restriction of 140 characters, including punctuation. Because a picture might be worth 1,000 words up in a museum, but a day in your life is worth more. Thoughts are closed off and restricted to a place where posting can conflict with your other interests, but rather, they should be in a space and time where these thoughts can run free. Because freedom of speech isn't something that should be feared. Because there are tons of stories to write, and novels and books and memories just laying waste in the platform of our mind. Because it's so easy to type something down. Every single character and word, add contractions, and in the end, you never hit post. How you can go from #blessed, to #stressed, to #messed up, to #throw up, to #thrown out, to #blackout. Because for a long time, it was just a tag, and it didn't even need the hash. Or public appreciation for the struggle, and the longing to fit in after life throws up a curveball when we fall short at the plate. And remembering that our greatest fear is that we're not inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond all measure. And that another person's reaction just gives us personal satisfaction of nothing, more than the disposition of their belief in Constitution itself. Because if you really wanted something, you'd fight for it. Because discouragement is just the conduit of motivation. Because winning really isn't everything. Because losing means you believed in yourself enough to take a chance and fell short. Because not trying and giving up meant that you never believed in yourself in the first place. And if you never did, then what about everyone else who believed in you? And it's about experience, that when you catch it, you're missing it. Like running late to grab your camera or stopping all conversation at the table for a picture of what's going to be in your digestive system and out in the next 6 to 8 hours. Caught between the focus, aperture, lighting, filters, subject, background, content of a good picture on Instagram for a couple dozen likes, you miss living the actual moment when you should have just been there. When it's not the public recognition and the achievements, like video games where when you finish one thing and bam, another achievement is unlocked, a title, a self-proclaimed statement of your worth, because someone else doesn't define that. It's you, and when you look at the mirror, you should wonder when, why, what, who, where, how, what am I going to do now? Because there can be 1,000 voices in that crowd, and the only one that matters is yourself. Because fitting in means deadening the sound of personal reason for others' gain and publicity. Even if your fame becomes nothing more than a shallow shell of what you really call yourself. And in what we are, and we remove those boundaries, those restrictions, the lines of Facebook and the makeup and the media, what are you? No, I'm not saying that I don't like using it myself. I like to tweet and post pictures on Instagram, look at my food and take pictures of it. But you shouldn't be defined by that. And just remember, there's more stories that you should have of the remember when, or hey, I remember that 3 weeks ago, instead of looking at your feed 46 weeks ago. Because our lives should be more than just a Google, tweet, or Instagram photo that can be quickly shared. It should be well-lived.
All right, make some noise for LJ, Lara, and Harley.